Hi everyone and welcome to the RFD Show. I'm your host Stefan Potgieter. I'm so glad that you can join us today, and we are being joined on the other side of the line with the Jackal, aka Jock. Jock, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, and you?
Good, can't complain. In this short podcast episode, we just quickly want to discuss the Super Rugby Aotearoa that's taking place next weekend. Are you excited to watch a bit of rugby?
I'm very excited. The teams playing is going to be good clashes, and I'm just excited to see some live sport again.
Yes, I'm also so excited. It's going to be awesome. We're going to be joined a bit later with Dan the Man, aka Daniel. He's just running a bit with some other work. But anyway, let's just jump into this. So just before we get to the weekend and who's going to play, the biggest news we got during this week was, of course, Daniel Carter joining the Blues. Now, Jock, what do you think about that?
Well, it's a bit controversial, I think, in New Zealand terms, because he's a Crusaders man of old. Um, so I think they would have expected him to go to the Crusaders, but
Mhm.
with him and the coaching staff's history at the Blues, I think it's McDonald that's coaching now, or
Yes.
that's in the coaching team. I think with them, it's a good move with him and Bowden Barrett, the new signings. I think Blues team that struggled in the last few years have quite a good power now in the squad to maybe um, get into a competition with other New Zealand teams. So I think that's a good signing. It's a good move from him.
Yes, I think it's quite a difficult one for Crusaders fans to swallow this pill now that Daniel is with the Blues. But I completely agree with you with the coaching staff that they have at the Blues. I think it's Leon is his name. McDonald is they're very good friends, and I think it will
Yes.
suit him to be back in just playing in New Zealand. He actually, I think, posted something on his social media this morning, just saying that he missed rugby so much the last couple of months. And when the phone call came through, it was a tough decision, but he knew he wanted to still play. And then also just to give his knowledge and his expertise of the game to the next generation. I mean, that in itself is a gift. And I think all of the young players at the Blues needs to recognize that he's maybe the old dog, in the yard, but he's going to teach you something. And I really hope that they'll listen to him for that regard. But with that being said, I'm so excited to see Dan Carter playing again. But let's jump into the weekend. What's going to happen? And the first team or the first two teams playing the first match is the Highlanders versus the Chiefs. So in this episode, we are quickly going to discuss our picks and who are we going to back, and maybe just a key player to look forward in this match. So, Jock, you can go ahead. The first match, who are you backing, and who do you think is going to be the key player with that?
Okay. Well, with the Crusaders and the Chiefs, I've looked a bit in the last 10 games that they've played against each other. Um,
Mhm.
and surprising to me, the Highlanders lead uh, 6-3 wins with only one draw in the last 10 meetings. So I
Oh.
would have thought the Chiefs might have had the upper hand there. Um, so I think the Highlanders have the advantage there. The Chiefs being on good form before the lockdown began. Uh, they have good team structure, um, but the Highlanders have signed a couple of players. I think one of the key players will be uh, Milner Skada if he
Mm.
gets a start there. The Chiefs, obviously, the new New Zealand captain Sam Cane. Uh, I hope those two will be in the spotlight in this game. And of course, the scrum halves. I think it's what's his name, Aaron Smith, and the other guy. What's his name? I can't remember his name now. Um, but also for the Chiefs, I think the two scrum halves will be instrumental in this match. But I think the Highlanders for me might take it with the new signings and the form and everything. So I think the Highlanders uh, will win this one.
Okay, that's interesting. Will you share your pick on Super Brew so that we know you can't change it?
Yes, my pick is Highlanders by 6. I think it's a New Zealand derby, of course. Tough games always. It's not too big a gap between the scores always. So I think the Highlanders will take it by 6.
Okay, that's very interesting. I agree with Milner Skudder and Sam Cane, who's going to be the key players for both teams if Milner gets a start. I'm backing the Chiefs with the opposite 6. So let's see who's gonna win that derby, and it's gonna be very interesting to see what Daniel's gonna pick as well. But then let's jump into the second one, which I think is quite a hectic match with the Blues facing off against the Hurricanes. Of course, Beauden Barrett will be facing his former teammates, which is going to be very interesting as well. Who do you think is going to be the key player then for these two teams?
Well, as I've said in the previous times, I think the Hurricanes will target Barrett for obvious reasons. So I think that will be a quite a good contest to see if he can cope with a team that knows him actually very well. Again, if we look at the last 10 games, the Hurricanes won 9 of the last 10 games against the Blues. Being said, the Blues didn't have good form. They didn't have good luck in the previous times. But I think with the squad they're building now, and with Carter coming in, I think that experience that will motivate the rest of the squad to perform on a higher level than usual. So I've actually gone the Blues by 3 points against the Hurricanes, just because it's a new squad. It's a coaching team that has got the experience, and who knows, the Hurricanes is always a good, strong team with Perenara and Lamb and all the guys there. But I think if Beauden Barrett can step up to his former team, I think he will be the key player there. Maybe someone, if Rico Ioane and those guys also start or is there, I think that will be a good matchup for the Hurricanes.
Okay, interesting. So you went to the Blues for 3, right? You picked them.
Yes.
Okay, this is not pre-planned, but I also backed the Blues with 3 points because I felt, yeah, I'm actually a Blues supporter. Out of all the teams playing in the Aotearoa competition, the New Zealand derbies, I back the Blues first of all. The underdogs, since I can remember. I actually didn't watch rugby in my early days, and then the whole sport caught on to me, and since then I think the Blues is such a cool team. And I completely agree with you. If Beauden can pull off what everyone is expecting of him, then I think he's going to really put the Hurricanes under pressure. But we should not forget the Hurricanes definitely have experienced players, and I think in tough times the experience is going to be of value. So we'll have to see in this game. Also, another thing with both of these matches, we should remember they are training for the last 3 weeks now, but this will be the first match in a couple of months. So none of them is rugby fit, like match fit. And I think that will be interesting. Some will be out of gas at halftime. They will get out of the locker rooms, and they will really struggle to play because again they're not match fit. So we'll have to check that out as well. But I think this was an interesting just chat about this. For everyone who's listening, thank you so much for joining us. We are quickly going to transition out into another segment of this episode with Daniel. But just before we go, Jock, I want to say thank you so much for your time and for your picks. I hope that you are right and wrong so that we can both get points.
I'm so glad to be back on Super Brew. I've missed it so much. Hopefully the people can join our group, and we will just have a nice friendly competition between all of us.
Yes, I completely agree. With that being said, please go join our Super Brew pool. It's Rugby for Days Super Brew. It's or Super Rugby actually. So the pool's name is Rugby for Days Super Rugby. There will be it is a whole competition, and at the end of the 10 rounds, whoever is on top of the pool will win a replica jersey of his or her choice. So that's also cool. There's no entry fee. Please share it with your friends, with your family, whoever loves rugby, whoever is going to go bonkers for this tournament. Please share it with them, share it with all your rugby fans and people, and that will just be very exciting to get the pool up and running and to get so many people to join in. But that's all from our side for this time. Jock, thank you so much. Anything else that you want to quickly add?
No, just want to say thank you for the time. Um, I just want to urge people again to go like our Facebook page and go listen to our podcast on Apple Podcast and Spotify. Follow us on all platforms. I really like the stuff that we're doing now, especially with the new New Zealand rugby. I think that will spark a lot of conversation, and we are people who like a conversation. So if the people would like to comment on whatever, we would just love to continue the conversation and actually go out and speak to our fans. So I just want to say thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And now let's hear what Daniel has to say. Daniel, how are you doing?
I'm doing very, very good. You, boss, how are you? What you up to?
I'm doing very well. I'm not gonna lie. This cold weather in Pretoria is getting the best of me. But other than that, I am doing very well. Thank you so much. Are you excited for a bit of rugby this weekend?
Oh, I cannot wait. I just want to see someone hit someone and just, hopefully be a beautiful backline move, finishing off some stuff. I'm especially keen to see some features again. Obviously, one of my favorite parts of the game. And hopefully the new rules, how they're implementing it, that will be nice to see if they follow the rules that they said they will. So
Yes, I'm also so excited. I hope there's going to be a couple of cool moves that we haven't seen in the last a couple of games that was actually live. So I'm super excited, expecting running rugby and definitely some scoring rugby for that matter, not just kicking, but try scoring and stuff like that. It is a Southern Hemisphere competition, so we better see tries and not just kicking. But anyway, just before we get into the two matches, what do you think about Daniel Carter's return to Super Rugby and playing for the Blues this time around?
Well, firstly, I have to say sorry because I think I mentioned in the video that Ian Bowden Barrett will compete for the jersey. And I read somewhere that he is only there as a substitute and experience, which
Yes.
is a very, very clever move. But I believe Dan Carter is a player that lifts just every level of every player, and his experience is you can't buy that. So what a move by the Blues. Definitely, if he only plays one season and becomes like a assistant coordinator or something, still a great move. I believe he's still an asset to New Zealand rugby. I don't believe you'll see that much game time. More of the experience a bit, but I believe it's good to see Carter back in New Zealand rugby. I believe they're happy to have him back, even if it's not in the traditional red or grey, depending on what the Crusaders want to play in. But yeah, the Blues must be happy to have him, and I'm happy to see him play back in the Southern Hemisphere.
Yes, no, I completely agree with you there. I think it's going to be very interesting to see him back in the colors of the Blues for the first time. Not back, but the first time. But yes, he's actually as a replacement, injury replacement, as far as the name or the topic is concerned. But I think it's going to be very interesting, and I think he's going to give his knowledge over to the Blues players, and I just hope that they'll take the knowledge from him because he is a two-time Rugby World Cup winner, one of the best ever to play the game, and definitely the perfect 10. So I really hope that they will listen to his wisdom and knowledge about the game of rugby. But with that being said, we are so excited for the Super Rugby Aotearoa competition. And the first game is the Highlanders and the Chiefs. Would you like to explain who did you back and by how much?
So I went Highlanders. I don't know why, but I went Highlanders. They're one of the best teams in New Zealand, but they're still one of the underrated teams in New Zealand. Because when you speak about the talent, you always mention the Hurricanes and that massive backline they had. You'll now mention the Blues because they have Beauden Barrett. You always mention the Crusaders. So there's no way the Highlanders get into the top 3. And if they do, the Chiefs will always edge them out. So I believe they have something to prove, but they still have a world-class backline. But now that I think about it, I know Damien McKenzie is there. So my pick might shift. I mentioned on our YouTube channel, I mentioned I'm backing Highlanders by 5, but I think I'll go with Chiefs by something like 7. I'm picking close. I believe it'll be a high-scoring game, but I still believe that there'll be a close game, even though it is high-scoring. It won't be like a 50-20 score. It'll be something like a 30-28, something like that. But I believe now that the Chiefs will take it if Damien McKenzie is on form. If not, I think the Islanders will probably give them a go for their money and run some circles around the Chiefs.
Yes. So I backed the Chiefs for 6, which is going to be very interesting. I think I agree with you. It will be probably 26-28 or something like that, the score at the end of the game. But I think the Chiefs will edge closer, and with the experience and the confidence of Sam Cane as the leader of the pack, I think that's actually gonna edge them over the winning line, or to get the W in that match. And then the second match, of course, is the Blues against the Hurricanes. Let's quickly hear who did you back on that game?
So once again, a big matchup. Blues coming against the Hurricanes, as you mentioned, and Beauden first outing in the Blues jersey will be against his old team, and definitely with something to prove. I'm backing the Blues. I'm going to go Blues with 7, and I'm going to stick to it. I'm not going to overthink this one. I believe the Hurricanes has a great team, but not great enough to execute against this Blues side with the Ioane brothers. If both of them are playing, and then Joe Merchant as well, great England international player already at the young age of 23, 24. So world-class players. Going to be a great matchup. That's all I say. And it's going to go either way, but I want the Blues to take this one.
That's very interesting. I'm also backing the Blues. I think I explained it also in one of our episodes on YouTube, is that whenever the Blues is playing, I'm backing them. I don't know why. It's just something. It's like the underdog team that's always being backed. So I'm very excited for this game. I'm backing the Blues with 6, or with 3. Excuse me, with 3 points, because I think it's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough game, and if they pull out the W, I'm thinking like 1, 2, 3 points max. I don't think it's going to be 7, 8, 10. That's not going to be the case.
Dan caught a penalty, maybe.
Or maybe, trailing by 3. Beauden gets the ball, runs right. No, not right through, but circles around Dan goals and then go score. And then we have a W for the Blues with 3 points or something. So I think that's going to be very interesting. But Daniel, thank you so much for your time for this episode. And I'm gonna actually let you have the question of the day for this one.
I think I have a good one. In the Hurricanes Blues game, who do you think wants to go after Beauden Barrett the hardest in the Hurricanes team? I don't think there's hard feelings between them, because obviously we've talked about how good New Zealand is with talent distribution, and they all understand why he moved and stuff. And I think that it's not hard feelings, but obviously it's been old teammate and he's on the other side now. He's not a body check like in practices now. It's something new. It's something I can actually hit this guy now. So who do you guys think is going to go after Beauden Barrett the hardest this weekend? My money's on Dan Coles.
That's going to be very interesting. Awesome question. Thank you so much for your time. And then for all our listeners, thank you so much for listening to this podcast. We're so excited that rugby is going to be on and live again, so that we don't have to view all the old games with all the weird rules. So we're very excited about that. Please don't forget, we are a blog. So we are rugbyfordays.com. So you can go check out our blog post on that website. And then also our YouTube channel is also Rugby for Days. We have great content on a bit of a longer form content, describing rugby, the Irish and Lions tour for next year, and so on. So that's all from our side. You should have a great day and enjoy the rugby this weekend.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining. And yes, hopefully we'll see you guys on TV if you're listening from New Zealand. And please tweet us a photo at Rugby for Days on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, wherever. We'd like to reshare it and just get in the hype of rugby once again. I think that's something quite cool that we can do now. And just be a community as well.